For generations, we've all been sold this one big promise that a college degree is basically the golden ticket to a successful life. But is that promise still holding up? We're about to dig into the hard numbers that suggest the old formula is, well, kind of broken. And we'll uncover why financial freedom isn't always something that's printed on a diploma. Let's just start with a number that is, wow, it's so big, it's almost hard to wrap your head around it. $1.7 trillion. That is the massive mountain of student loan debt right here in America. It's a number that quietly shapes the financial lives of millions of people, often for decades to come. And for the average person, what does that mountain of debt actually look like? Well, it looks like this. Imagine walking across that graduation stage with a diploma in one hand and a bill for nearly $37,000 in the other. That is a seriously deep hole to have to dig yourself out of before your career even gets off the ground. And get this, after all that, what's the reality on the ground? Nearly 40% of recent graduates end up working in jobs that don't even require the degree they just spent 4 years and a ton of money to get. There's a word for it. It's called underemployment, and it is a huge part of this story. So when you put all of this together, it forces you to ask a pretty critical question, right? If the traditional college path is supposed to be the surest way to success, why are so many people who follow it to the letter finding themselves financially trapped instead of financially free? All right, so how did we even get here? It all starts with that lifelong promise, that simple formula we were all taught was the absolute guarantee for success. I mean, this was the blueprint, wasn't it? For our parents and our grandparents' generations. This path, honestly, it often worked like a charm. You put in the hard work, you got the degree, and a stable, comfortable life usually followed. But here's the thing. The economic world we live in today has fundamentally changed. See, that old formula worked great back when the price of admission was, reasonable. But today, the math has been completely rewritten. And spoiler alert, it is not in the student's favor. Just look at this timeline. It tells the whole story. Back in the 1970s, you could pay for an entire year of public university with a summer job. Think about that. Today, with costs exploding into the tens of thousands of dollars every single year, it's impossible. And wages haven't even come close to keeping up. And here's something really crucial to understand. The sticker price is basically a lie. A $40,000 loan doesn't cost you $40,000. After years of interest piling on, you're looking at over $50,000. That extra 10 grand is money you worked for, but you'll never actually get to use for yourself. But the real cost, it's not even just about the interest. It's about time. This right here shows you the incredible power of time when it comes to investing. Every single year you spend paying off debt instead of putting money to work for you has an exponential cost. Delaying your investments by just 8 years can slash your potential future wealth by over $100,000. Debt literally eats your future. And that lost time for investing, that's just one piece of a much bigger kind of hidden cost that nobody really talks about. It's called opportunity cost. It's not just about the money you spend on college, but the money, the skills, and the time you miss out on by choosing that path. Okay, let's break this down. A tale of two paths. By age 22, person A, our college grad, has a degree, that's great, but they also have a boatload of debt and 0 years of professional experience. Meanwhile, person B, who learned a valuable skill instead, has 4 years of real-world experience, 0 debt, and a huge head start on earning and investing. So, when you add it all up, the lost income, the heavy cost of debt, the missed growth from investments, that initial 4-year decision can create a financial gap of $200,000 or even more, all within the first decade of a person's career. That's the cost they never put in the college brochure. Now, you might be thinking, sure, but the college grad will eventually get a higher salary, right? And maybe they will, but they are starting from a massive deficit. This whole situation highlights a really common trap. We're all taught to chase a high income, but income is not the same thing as wealth. So what's the difference? It's simple, really. Income is what you get from your job. You are actively trading your time for money. Wealth, though, that's different. Wealth is what you own. It's assets that generate money for you, even when you're not working. College is designed to get you an income, but it very rarely teaches you how to build actual wealth. These right here are the real building blocks of financial freedom. We're talking about things like owning stocks or real estate or a business. These are the engines that build wealth, and they rely on skills that
let's be honest, are often learned way outside of a formal classroom.
Okay, so if the old formula is broken, what's the replacement? What actually works today? Let's take a look at a new freedom formula, one that's built for the world we live in right now. This is the new path. It starts with developing skills that the market actually wants and will pay well for. Next, you have to master financial literacy, understanding how money works. Then you invest as early as you possibly can. You build ownership in things. And, this one is critical, you keep your spending in check as your income grows, avoiding that trap of lifestyle inflation. A degree can be a helpful tool here, for sure, but it is not the whole game. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? It's that a degree can absolutely open doors, but it is not a pre-stamped ticket to financial freedom. That kind of freedom doesn't come from a credential. It comes from having a strategy. So maybe the most important question isn't, where should I go to college? But rather, what's my strategy for building real, lasting wealth?